Well, good evening, everybody. This is Cutler on the Let's Talk to Cutler platform, the Let's Talk to Cutler broadcast. It's so good to see you all, and I'm so thankful to have you all here with me. It is January the 28th, 2021, and I'm thankful that you all have taken the time to join me, thankful that you all have taken the time to be with me. So whatever space you are allowing me to share with you, for that, I'm thankful, whether it's your living room, your dining room, your bedroom, your car, your front porch, your kitchen, or whatever space it may be. I thank you all so much for sharing that space with me. Do me a favor as you come into the room, go ahead and do a thumbs up on the conversation. We have a lot to talk about. You all, I have a lot to say and a little time to say it in tonight. All right, a lot to say and a little bit of time to say it in. So I want to make sure that every minute matters, every moment is meaningful, and every second is significant. And I want us to go ahead and get started. Of course, as you all know, we're reading from this wonderful book entitled Billboards to Better, 366 Daily Sources of Motivation and Inspiration Along the Highway of Life. I'm thankful for those of you who have already purchased the book. Do me a favor and go on over to Amazon.com and get it. Or you can go to my website, www.gbcutler, and pick it up. That's www.gbcutler, and you can pick up that book right there. I'll tell you what, a lot of you have been sending me pictures and quotes and all that kind of stuff, and I'm so very thankful. Now, I usually on Tuesdays I'll talk and I'll read the quotes from Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And then when it comes to Thursday, I'll read the quote and we'll talk about the quote for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Saturday is usually your quote all day, your way, whether you want to use it as a part of your meditation, as a part of a conversation starter. But this evening, I want to use the quote as a part of our conversation, you all. I really do, because as I started this year, I decided, I'm going to give you a heads up and I'll get to it when we actually pull up the quote. I decided that I was going to call this, for me, the year of the reset clock. I don't know about anybody else, but with everything that happened in 2021, I decided I was going to call this the year of the reset clock. Now, I know that some of you on our last broadcast, you weren't able to get into the chat, you weren't able to get into the room. And if that is the case tonight, I'm not sure. I guess I have to look into what's going on as a matter of technicality. But if you can get into the chat room, come on over in the chat room and chat with me, and I'll shout out our LTTC VIPs for the evening. If not, I can see that there's a number of you all who are watching. So if you want to put your quotes somewhere in the bottom of the conversation, but I'll need to look and see what's happening here on YouTube, that you all can't get into this chat room with me. I was made aware that some people can't, but don't leave. Just stay here with me, because I have a few good things that I want to say to us tonight. All right. Again, this is Cutler. You're in the Let's Talk to Cutler broadcast, and I want to thank you all so much for sharing this space with me and for sharing this time with me. We're going to go ahead and get started with our quotes. And when we get started with the quotes, I'm going to read them, and I may not be able to see your comments, and I'm not sure why. I don't know if there's something technical that I need to do, or if I need to contact YouTube and say, you all have got to do better, because I can't see my LTCC VIPs or anybody else for that matter. But I can see that you all are viewing. So thank you so much for sharing this space. Do me a favor. Go ahead and do a thumbs up on the conversation. Go ahead. If you haven't, make sure that you subscribe. If this is your first time, not only subscribe, but click on the bell, because it says to me that you are enjoying our conversation. It encourages my heart, but it also says to YouTube that you like the content that I'm uploading, and it lets you know whenever I'm live or whenever I've uploaded new content. All right. It looks like some of you may not be able to get into the chat room tonight, but again, don't leave. We're going to read these quotes and talk about them, and we're going to make sure that our time together is well spent. All right, let's go directly to our quote for January 27th. And it says this: a good testimony will keep you delivered, and it will keep the enemy defeated. A good testimony will keep you delivered, and it will keep the enemy defeated. I know a lot of these quotes are quite kind of interesting, because they seem to have this real deep spiritual essence about them, and many of them do. They certainly do. I don't want to deny that. But this particular quote, in its application, this is about not being afraid or ashamed or embarrassed, you all, to share good news. It's about not allowing people to make you feel bad for the blessings that God has given you. It's about being bold enough to declare that God has been good to me. I had a friend once, and I will never forget, God rest her soul. I remember when she bought a Mercedes. It was a beautiful white Mercedes. And we pulled up on the church parking lot one Sunday, and she said to me, "Do you think I should park my car in the back?" And I said, "Why would you do that?" She said, "Well, because I don't want people to think that, that I'm trying to be so much or so grand." And I said to her, "You park your car wherever you typically tend to park your car. Let people think what they think, but you make sure that you let people see you're not showing off. You're just showing the blessings that God has given you. Don't ever let people make you feel bad about the things, the blessings that have come into your life. Absolutely not. I will never forget. I had a person once who told me, "You don't want people to think that you're more than you are." No, you're absolutely right. I don't want people to think that I'm more than I am, but neither do I want them to think Neither do I want them to think that God is less than he is. Okay? Because there's a song, and the lyrics of the song, so you all stick with me. The lyrics of the song says, "I'm not lucky, I'm loved." So it's not a matter of me being lucky. It's a matter of the fact that God loves me enough to give me the things that he gives me. And the lyrics then go on to say that I don't thank my lucky stars because that's not where my blessings are, but they come from the Father's heart. I grew up in a church, and thank you. One of you just sent me a notification that there's an issue with YouTube. So I guess I'll have to look into it and see what's going on. But thank you for letting me know that. So you all stick around and keep chatting. And even if you have to go back after the broadcast and put your notes and comments in there so I can see what they were, to see what you were saying, I love to see that. But stick with me while we're live, and let's do this. But in terms of making sure that you keep a good testimony and those sorts of things, I grew up in the church, you all. And we used to have something that was called a testimony service. Some of you all will relate to this. Oh, I wish you all could chat with me tonight. Some of you all can relate to this. And people would get up and they would give their thanks for goodness and blessings and victories and all of these things that had come into their lives over the course of the week. And sometimes many of them would say the same things. And other times it seemed like maybe one person was trying to out testify the other person, which I realized that's sort of funny when I think about it now. But when I discovered as I got older, what I discovered was that many of us share some of the same blessings in common. So it makes sense to me that they were saying some of the same things. And for some of those blessings, uh, uh, those were the things that you didn't want to forget. Some of those blessings are the things that some people forget to give thanks for. I'm thankful, you all, for the blood flowing through my veins. I'm thankful to have my right mind and some modicum of intellect. I'm thankful to have reasonable and significant portion of my health and strength. I'm thankful for those things. And I'm thankful that, as we would say growing up in the country, that my bed was not my cooling board. I'm thankful for all of those things. I'm thankful for the fact that my family circle was not broken today, because that wasn't the story a few days, weeks, and months ago. And it might not be the story tomorrow, but today I'm thankful that my family circle is intact. I really am. I'm thankful for what God has done for me, for the dark places he's brought me out, for the difficult places he's brought me through, and the deafening places where he silenced the noise. I'm thankful for all of that. So you make sure you hang on to a good testimony, because when you learn to give thanks, so this is my inspiration, you all, just give thanks. When you learn to give thanks for all of your blessings, great and small, you learn that you are defeating your enemies. What enemies am I talking about? I'm talking about the enemies of your mind. When you give thanks, you learn to conquer despair and hopelessness. You learn to face depression head on. You learn to talk to discouragement and discontentment. And you get to say, you can come for me if you want, but I've got the blessings of God backing me up. And I've got a reason to live, and I've got a reason to love. And I'm telling you, it is amazing. Hang on to a good testimony. Because you can say to all of those things, depression, discouragement, and all of that, you can make me wish that I had more if you want. But for now, I've got enough to count. Try and make me wish that I had more. But for now, in this moment, I've got enough blessings to count. Every breath I take is a blessing. Every time my heart beats, it's a blessing. Every time my eyes blink, that's a blessing. If you really want to make it through a day victoriously, you all. And I'm talking to all of those of you who have joined me on this platform this evening, to those of you who will even do the replay. If you really want to make it through a day victoriously, always keep a good testimony. What is a good testimony? A true testimony. A true testimony is a good one. What if you don't have anybody to tell it to? Listen, you learn to talk to yourself and tell yourself how good God has been to you. All right. I'm going I'm going to keep moving, you all, but that's just a powerful quote that says a good testimony will keep you delivered and will keep the enemies of your mind defeated. Let's go. We're reading from this book, Billboards to Better. And again, if you don't have the book, don't let that stop you from joining the conversation. You come on and join the conversation anyway. Pick up the book later, but come on and join the conversation. You all do me a favor. If you haven't done so, please make sure that you share this channel. Let the people know that what we're trying to do as we're driving along the highway of life, reading the billboards that will make us better, we want to have the most packed car on the highway. And we want the car to be so packed, you all, until we eventually have to have a caravan. All right, I want to go on to January 28th, the quote for January 28th, which is today. It simply says, be careful about asking God to do to other people what you don't want him to do to you. So be careful. Be careful. This, you all, is really it's an admonition. It's one of those things that, now be careful. It's an admonition about seeking vengeance and revenge, an admonition about making sure that you don't give too much attention to negative energy. I don't have much to say when it comes to I don't have much to say about this quote other than stop giving your enemies power over you. Stop allowing them to believe that they have a strong hold in your life. Stop seeking their harm and stop wishing their demise because you're giving attention to negativity. My greatest prayer, and I'm not going to dwell on this quote long, but my greatest prayer is not that God would handle my enemies, but my greatest prayer is that God would bless me even in the midst and in the face of my enemies. I'm not so concerned what you do with them, but my prayer is that you would bless me and still cause me to prosper in spite of and in the face of them. My hope is that I live in such a way that my blessings are not hindered because of the energy that I direct toward my enemies. I don't want my blessings to be hindered because I've directed so much energy toward my enemies. My hope is that I don't forget to enjoy life and the beauty of life because I'm so consumed about what enemies think of me. I've got too much life to live. And I'm not so disillusioned, you all, as to think that I don't have enemies. I know that everyone is not going to like or love me. I know that everyone is not going to subscribe or share to this platform. But what I do know is this. I'd rather spend my time living because of those who love me rather than dying because of those who hate me. Let me say that again for the people in the back. I would rather spend my time living because of those who love me rather than dying because of those who hate me. No, listen, enemies, do what you want to do. You all, let's learn not to give your enemies too much space in your life. Say to yourselves what I've said to myself. I've got too much to do, too many places to go, too much to say, too much accomplished to have my enemies consume real estate in my life that they don't even pay rent for. And if they don't get, I'm telling you all, if they don't get a whole lot of my active life, God knows they don't get a whole lot of my prayer life. I'm just being honest with you all. If they don't get a whole lot of my active life, I'm certainly not going to give them a lot of my prayer life. Some stuff I'm not even going to God about. If he wants to handle my enemies, he can handle them. But the inertia of my life, the movement of my life will not be halted because of an enemy. Absolutely not. So then, I'm not even going to ask God to do to my enemies what I don't want him to do to me because I might be somebody's enemy. And here I am praying, God, shut their mouths. And somebody might be praying, God, shut his mouth. I'm not going to do that. All right. Listen, this is Cutler here on the Let's Talk to Cutler platform. You all know I'm only here for 1,800 seconds, and I got a bonus quote for you all tonight. But let's just go on to our quote for January 29th. Can we do that? Let's go into our quote for January 29th. I'm asking y'all, can you do that? And you all tell me that I can't get into the chat room to talk with you just yet. There seems to be something that that YouTube has done. So I'm going to take a look at it after the broadcast and just sort of see what's going on. But please continue to watch and come back and just make comments and notes in the chat. I'm doing this like you can type, right? And make comments in the chat, because I still want to see who's on. I see that you're here. I just can't see your names, and I want to see your names. I want to see all my friends. All right, let's go to the quote for January 29th. It says this: when you are sharing the gospel, I told you these quotes seem to be so packed and so focused on making sure that we are spiritually whole. I believe in a spiritually well. I believe in holistic wellness. I believe in being physically well. I believe in being emotionally well. I believe in being mentally and psychologically well. But I also believe in being spiritually well. So a lot of these quotes focus on being spiritually well. All right. January 29th, again, the quote says, when you are sharing the gospel, remember that you're just delivering the mail. You didn't write the letter, and you are not the sender. That, it trips me up every time I read that. You're just delivering the mail. You didn't write the letter, and you're not the one sending it. Somewhere you all along my life's journey, I remember hearing the phrase, just tell the truth and keep it moving. That's a quote I heard. Just tell the truth and keep it moving. I really want you all to come back and go into chats and tell me if you ever heard that quote. I grew up at a time, you all, and I seem to still be growing up in a time like that, when people would like to take the Bible and twist scriptures and insert doctrines and toss their opinions in order to manipulate, persuade people to do things. Listen, just say what the Bible says and leave it alone. If you want to really know what I think about, how to handle Bible and how to handle scriptural truths and all of that, just tell the truth and keep it moving. We have a difficult enough time as it is, trying to share the hope and the power of this beautiful gospel message without having it contorted and disfigured for someone's personal agenda. Happens far too often. One of my biggest frustrations is when people will extrapolate and then interpret scriptures for their own selfish reasons. That really, as much as I'm smiling and I'm controlled, that really infuriates me. Why? Because the gospel, in my opinion, is life-giving. It's light shining. It's darkness piercing, and it's hope spreading. So I encourage people, be careful how you share the message. And I have the privilege and the honor from time to time, as some of you may know, of teaching how we are to carry and to share this message. And one of the things that I always encourage people to do, and I'm going to give you our insight as to what I say to some of my students in that setting sometimes, I say to people this: share it with enthusiasm. Share it with integrity and share it with honesty. It's not our story. We're just delivering the mail. So I always say, and this is how I'll end my conversation with this particular quote, because I always say, learn how to deliver the mail in such a way that people will want to open the envelope. That speaks to me as I say it. When you share the gospel, learn how to deliver the mail in such a way that people will want to open the envelope. You all listen, I usually just read 3 quotes and I stop there. I told you all tonight I have a whole lot to say and a little bit of time to say it in. But I want to get to this quote. This is the first time ever that we've read a Saturday quote. And look at here, you can't even get to me in the chat room. But make sure that you come back, do a rewatch if you don't mind, and come back and watch it. And when you come back and watch it, share it with somebody. Do a watch party or something. Hey, send me an email to talk2cutler, talk the number 2, cutler@gmail.com. And let me know if you're going to come on and watch, and I'll try to jump on and watch it with you. All right. But I want to get to this January the 30th. This is the first time we've done a Saturday quote. And I want to get to this one because this one really speaks to me. And it says, when God speaks, he resets the calendar of your life. Everything that happened before he spoke really doesn't matter. He knows how to make all things new. So I want to offer you this bonus quote tonight. We don't usually read the Saturday quote, but I want to offer you this bonus quote tonight. I know I usually don't do that. But this quote for Saturday, this one, you all, I decided that I would use this as the theme of my year. I decided that I would call this year the year of the reset clock. Not because I want to dismiss or totally disregard what happened in 2020. That's not why. But it was because I'm telling you, I needed it to be, I needed a part of me to be jump-started. I'm not trying to dismiss or totally disregard what happened in 2020, but I needed a part of me jump-started. I needed my heart jump-started. You all, I'm just being very transparent. I needed my focus jump-started. I needed my peace jump-started. And I needed my hope jump-started. Like you connect a car to a car, battery to battery, and you jump-start, one jump-starts the other. I needed those areas jump-started. There were some things that happened in 2020 that didn't necessarily zap me or empty me of those things, but they really pulled from those resources, my heart, my peace, and all of that. And if I may be honest, I felt the energy in some of those areas literally decrease. Literally, I felt them decrease. And it didn't bother me. There were some things that didn't bother me through 2020. For example, it didn't bother me that I couldn't get into my office, my place of work, because God sustained me with employment. It didn't bother me that I couldn't get to the grocery store or to department stores because God was gracious and kind enough to bless me with what I needed. But what really drained me, and some of you all have seen me on this platform, what really drained me was watching my family and my friends and even myself deal with sickness and death and disease, and I couldn't get to them to comfort them, nor could they get to me to comfort me. And I think that perhaps I was so busy giving until perhaps I gave away my ability to get. So as we came into this year, as we came into 2021, it was never my prayer. It was never my prayer, God, make me forget. No. It was never my prayer that you would make me forget, but that you would make me anew. I wish we were in that chat room together tonight, because for me, with all of the hurdles and the trials and the trauma and the challenges and the obstacles of 2020, I needed God to do for me in 2021 what he did for Moses in the 12th chapter of Exodus. He said, and you can go back and read it. He said to Moses and Aaron in the 12th chapter, I think it's verses 1 and 2, this month, if I can paraphrase, he said, I'm resetting the clock. He said, this would be the beginning of your month. He has a way, you all, of resetting the clock and resetting the calendar. When he shows up, he has a way of making everything that happened before he showed up insignificant. He makes all of that a thing of the past. He makes it all a distant memory. When he shows up, he makes all things new, including your hope, including your joy, including your peace, and including your perspective about you, who you are, what you can be, where you can go, and what you can do. I'm telling you all. So in this 2021, my year of the reset clock, or the reset calendar, as this quote says, I'm thankful that God has put the hand of the clock back on 12 and has given me brand new opportunities for rotation and revolutions. And during this revolutionary moment, one of the things that I resolved to do is to become better. One of the things that I resolve to do, you all, is to become better. All right? Listen, we got 4 quotes in tonight. We got 4 quotes in. And I want to end by sharing this poem with you. These past few seconds have been enriching to me. They've reminded me to keep on talking about the good things that are happening in your life. Because when you talk about the good things that are happening in your life, you speak more good things into existence. And you defeat the enemies of depression, and the enemies of sadness, and the enemies of solitude, and the enemies of discontentment, and the enemies of discouragement. When you speak about the good things, you defeat the enemies of your mind that want to remind you about the bad things. Always, you all always have a testimony. Always have a testimony. And focus on the good things that are happening this year, and understand that the more you speak, the more they come. The more you speak, the more they come. And God shows up bringing more gifts and more goodness into your life. And when he shows up, what does he do? He resets the calendar. He resets the clock. I want to close by sharing this poem with you from my 3rd book, Who We Once Were. Of course, our primary conversation is coming from my 7th book, Billboards to Better. You can get it from Amazon.com. But I want to close by sharing a poem from my 3rd book, Who We Once Were. And the title of this poem says, Living You. Living You. Oh, to sip a day of your water, a mere note of your song to sing. To breathe only an ounce of your air, let me, I pray, live you, but for a day. To dance in the path that you despise, to find no fault in that which you criticize, to see even darkness through your eyes. Give me, I beg, the leftovers of your wasted time. Time is what was taken. Life is what I lack, I love, I long for. Peace is what I pray for. I decided to share this one because in 2021, looking back at 2020, it looks like we lost so many things, but yet there were things that we gained. The last stanza once again says, time is what was taken. Life is what I lack, I love, I long for. Peace is what I pray for. I want to thank you all so much for sharing these past 1,800 seconds with me here on this platform. Let's talk to Cutler. I want to thank you for sharing whatever space you've allowed me to share, whether it's your living room, your dining room, your kitchen, your bedroom. It does not matter. I'm thankful that you allowed me to share that space. I'm thankful that we meet here every Tuesday and every Thursday at 8 o'clock, and we are a source of encouragement to others. Because just as you tell me that I encourage you, I read your comments and I'm encouraged. I'm motivated. I'm challenged to become better, to do better, to stand up and show better. All right? So let's do what we keep doing. Let's share this channel. Let's share this channel and let us keep building community, maintaining connectivity. Let's keep our heads up and our hopes up. Let's stay safe, you all, and stay sane until this time next Tuesday at 8 o'clock when we go live again. And then next Thursday, we go live at 8 o'clock again. Much love to you all. Good night.